Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening in again as part of our Accountant Showcase series, where we want to bring awareness into the industry. And it's very, very fun to work in the accounting industry. And talk about that today is Erik Solbakken, part of the inventor of the Accountant Success Formula, will be joining us. And Erik, let's get started. Take this away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
You bet, Chris. Well, I'm a CPA. I'm actually a chartered accountant in Canada, legacy chartered accountant in Canada, and I started in public practice over 32 years ago now. So I started 32 years ago when I first started articling, and I worked for 18 years in a traditional accounting firm. I became partner there for the first 18 years. I gotta say, we said, being in the accounting world is fun. It wasn't fun back then, Chris. It sucked. Like, it was billable hours, cranking out, the one who, the person who billed the most hours wins type mentality. And that first 18 years was horrific. And, but I didn't realize that because I just thought it was normal. Like, that's the problem, is that we just think it's normal to work those kind of crazy hours and to have that kind of stress, and then to give clients bills, and the clients get pissed off because you give them this big bill. But you're like, you don't understand how hard I worked for that. Like, and all the tax I had to research and all the schooling I've done in the past, the client's still giving you grief. So there's this internal stress that happens, right? But you just think it's normal.
Right.
And so then after that, my partnership collapsed after 18 years, and I ended up creating a new accounting firm. And at that time, I decided to do things differently. I decided to be a little more entrepreneurial, and I found a model that freed me up, and I didn't work a single hour overtime in the last 8 years. And clients that loved to pay me the value that I was bringing to the table. And so after selling my accounting practice, 7 years ago now, I had accountants asking me how I did it. So I created a program called the Accountant Success Formula. I got a book. I've got an executive level coaching program showing accountants how to update their business model so they can take back control of their lives. And that's how you and I have connected together. And we've had lots of conversations around this, but that's me in a nutshell, shall we say.
I love it, simply because the fact that you are a chartered accountant, and now you're not necessarily doing the day-to-day work, but now you're helping the accounting industry. So that just shows how you can actually transition within this industry with the experience that you have. And I absolutely love it. But how did you, so over 3 decades ago, how did you get started into the accounting industry?
Yeah, I get a lot of people giving that. They're like, what? How long ago? Like, why did I? Well, the reason why I got involved in it right away is because, and I've got it in my book too, the Accountant Success Formula. You should, and I do a free plus shipping version on it. I'm not trying to plug the Accountant Success Formula, but it's a great read, and it's a fun read too. I was in grade 12 trying to decide what I want to do with my life, realized I love numbers and math. And then I found accounting, and I went, oh, this is it. I can have a degree in accounting, and away I go. And so I just hit the ground running right away. And that's why I got into accounting and the tax and business. And I loved it. And I loved working with business owners and helping them out. And but I got snared in the old model, like the traditional model, which was like, I got caught in, I was drinking the Kool-Aid, right? And I was like, more billable hours, more billable hours, more billable hours, because that's what matters. That's what matters. And next thing I know, after 18 years, it all imploded on me. And I kind of, the dust settled, and I looked around and I said, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I working this hard? And what I've seen, you and I were just talking about this, we don't see a lot of talent coming into the accounting profession anymore, because the real smart talent doesn't want to be part of this old world model where they're working ridiculous hours, and they're seeing their dads or their grandfathers or grandmothers or whoever used to be accountants, and they're stressed out all the time. Right. And so, but it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to have a model like that. And so the freedom model that you bring and that I bring are two separate pieces to the pod. I show the accountants how to fix their business model to get away from the billable hour and just cranking out tax returns. That's a road to ruin, as far as I'm concerned. And then on your side, freeing up the extra time of working hours by having offshore workers take care of that load, so that the professional accountants can actually do the job that they were trained for. So you put the two together, and you get this magical poof, that comes together, magical fairy dust. But it's true, because most accountants, when I tell them they can, by the way, did you know you can make twice as much as you're making right now and not work any overtime? And they're like, oh, great, Eric. Can you also show me how to walk across the lake too? Because apparently that's what you have in your toolkit. And I'm like, no, it can work. Right. And so, but you and I, we get it now, because we've seen this happen over and over again with the firms that we've worked with. Right.
Yeah, that's years ago when I used to host a call, maybe 50% of the time the call would end when I mentioned the word virtual or remote associates. It was just, it was absolutely terror.
Yeah.
And understandable. Just remote work is nothing new. 30 years old. The concept of internet started, right? I've been doing it 4 years, but I get it, to conceptualize it. And then all of a sudden you're forced into this environment, and it's like, what do? We need help. We need resources. And then it's just, you got to start thinking on your toes fast. And the transition's been made. And so you literally have seen the transition form, and through running a practice with your practice, and then helping accounting firms in their practice. So what are your thoughts on the last few years, let's say 5 years, and then within the next 5 years, where do you see this industry going?
Well, it's interesting, because like when I first started in public practice, we had a firm of 18 to 20 people, and there was 2 computer bays. So there was like computers separately. And when I first started, believe it or not, we wrote all the transactions by hand. Like there were 7 column and 14 columns. So I was actually writing it all out. I can add like crazy on my right hand, because I've got the adding machine pounding away. So we went from that. I've gone from that world where there was 2 computers for 20 people. So we shared those computers. Wow. To today, where everything, you've got super automation, you've got AI, and technology is the staple. And if you have to be technologically dialed in, otherwise you're so far behind the times, it's scary. So I've seen a whole transition, but I've been calling it, as we've been coming along here, going, why are you doing these mundane tasks that is not what CPAs are trained for? Like going to CPA school is a lot of work. Getting my chartered accountant designation took forever. Why am I using that to do mundane tasks, or these compliance driven tasks, when I could be giving it to someone else who wants to do it, who loves to do it? And the workers that you have, they get paid really well for where they're living. So it's a win-win all around. And so I've seen what's happened in the last few years, just to answer your question, because I get there eventually, that, is to go, in the last few years, they've been forced to, sorry, there's a guy blowing leaves out in the backyard. You probably hear that.
No, you must have a good filter. I don't.
No, I must be a good filter. Anyways, there's a leaf blower. There's a leaf blower going on right outside my window.
There's about 14 what do you call them? Fire trucks running down Fulton Avenue in Brooklyn. Yeah. So right on. Filters are key. But continue.
So there you go. So here's the thing: is that what's happened in the last few years is that accountants have been forced to adopt offshore remote workers, and they've been forced to use technology. They've been forced by the pressures of the business owners to say, I'm sick and tired of the billable hour. I'm sick and tired of this. You need to move to a subscription-based model where it smooths out my cash flow. I know the price ahead of time, and you give me more access to this brain that you have, the CPA brain. So in the last few years, it's not that CPAs have wanted to do it, they've been forced to. But now what I see as a great opportunity is like, okay, now that everybody's kind of on the surfboard going, no, it's not just, guys like Eric pounding the drum, or, these Ron Bakers and the Paul Dunns of the world telling them to change their model. Now you can actually embrace it because it works. It actually works. So the next 5 years is a great opportunity for CPAs to really look at updating their business model and taking advantage of what's coming. Instead of being afraid of the future, they can embrace it. And you know what? It's true. You can make twice as much as you make right now, working half as much. It's a double both ways. It works that way. And it can be done. And like I said, when you combine the accountant success formula with Entigrity, offshoring, you put the two together, that's where the magic happens.
Yeah. The poof. Yeah, for sure.
The poof.
No, but everything you're saying, I just 100% spot on. And so, but yeah, really appreciate you giving insight for the community and our audience. But Eric, what does Eric like to do for fun outside of work?
Oh, heavy metal music all day long.
Nice.
Oh yeah, no, I've got my guitars on the wall here and the amp down below. Yeah, I've been working on War Pigs has been the last song that I've been working on. I'm in a heavy metal band. I'm the drummer and lead singer. So for me, it's all about the heavy metal music.
That's awesome. Yeah. People ask me what music like. I mean, it's an eclectic mix. I could listen to orchestral one moment and then EDM the next, and then heavy metal and then rap and then hip hop and R&B. Yeah. I mean, as a geriatric millennial, I've come up through the 80s and 90s and 2000s and so on, as music has evolved and changed. And so I appreciate heavy metal. There's some days where I just turn that up and it just feels great.
Oh, you know what?
Going.
Yeah, Five Finger Death Punch and Disturbed. And a little Easter egg for you. I do reference Five Finger Death Punch in my book, The Accountant Success Formula.
Yes.
I'm just saying there is some heavy metal references inside the book. So I'm just saying.
No, really appreciate you taking time out today. The whole idea is just provide awareness that this industry, what they're doing, how literally you can evolve in the role that you've become. And also, it's not just about number crunching, data entry. No. It's nothing like that at all. So
it's not about that at all. And once you step into the CPA, and I love being a CPA. I still wear it with a badge and I'm proud to be a CPA, but I'm not proud of what the model has, what the traditional accounting firm model has done to CPAs and to the stigma of CPAs. And so for me, I just keep holding up the light saying there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not the front of an oncoming train. Just step into it and you'll truly enjoy it. Yeah. It's all safe.
Beautiful. Well, Eric, I know you're a busy man. Again, thank you so much for taking time out. For now, we'll take care. We'll talk soon.
Sounds great, Chris. Thanks.